Husker Nation, and welcome to the Blackshirt Alert Show. I am your host, TK. Join me with, as always, is Greg. Greg?
Hey, how's it going, everybody?
So, Greg, what an interview we had last week, huh?
Oh, wasn't that awesome?
It was. We're going to be discussing that here shortly. Want to discuss just a couple things, if I may, Greg.
Yes, sir.
As you know, we just beat Southern Miss 36-28.
Yep.
Pretty good game. It got really sloppy in the second half.
Yeah, it did. It was
kind of like a reverse Miami game. Like,
yeah,
I almost felt like we were the Miami last week where we, stuck it to them and then took our foot off the gas. We can't do that.
Yeah, it was. I agree with that. It was that second half. I was watching. I, turned away for a minute, and I come back, and they've almost tied us. So, yeah, it seems like we let off the gas a little bit.
That's one thing that we cannot afford to do, especially in a new era with new staff, offense, defense, you name it.
And I will say, if we do that against a better quality opponent, we will not be so lucky this time.
For sure. Well, Husker Nation, we have recently launched our official website. You can check it out at www.blackshirtalert.com. It's still under construction, but it's very functional. You can go there, and we got some features that are going to be coming. It's a really nice website. I think you'll all enjoy it. Greg, do you have anything that you'd like to add about the website?
Yeah, we just think it's great. Like Trav said, there's not a ton of features right now, but you can listen to the podcast there. And we're just going to continue to improve it and add some new features. And what I do have to say, guys, is we have a donate button on our website. Totally optional. But if you want to help us out, if you like what we're doing, if you like our shows, if you like our interviews, we're asking for a small donation, $4 a month, $1 an episode. If you can help us out with $1 an episode, we would be truly appreciative of that. And we're going to make a spot on the website where we recognize everybody that donates to us. And basically, we take a lot of time out to do these podcasts, and it takes a lot of time and energy, and we're looking to expand even further, maybe do some live shows or start getting some video shows and whatnot. So, not required, but if you want to help us out, it's there, and we would definitely appreciate it.
Greg, before we discuss the Michael Booker interview, I just have a couple things to say, if I may.
Yeah.
The fullback's back.
The fullback is back.
Andy Janovich had an awesome game, man.
Yeah, he did.
It's reminiscent of the old days.
Oh, man, I had a tear in my eye.
Dude, seeing him just, plow down that field, he had some good runs.
He did. I mean, I thought it was Corey Schlesinger for a second, man.
Dude, some people would say that he's our best back now.
Yeah.
It's really good to see that. Another thing I want to say is congratulations to our boy, Freedom Akinmolendu.
Yes.
I hope I said that right, on receiving his Blackshirt this week.
Yeah, that's huge.
Huge honor. Freedom, you earned it. You got 4 sacks on the year through 4 games. Wear that thing with pride, man. With that, I mean, you're not just, it's not just this year, it goes back decades, and he's wearing a lot of tradition every practice. Yeah,
that's awesome that he got it, and he's doing a great job. He definitely earned it. So,
and Tommy Armstrong, he's getting better.
I agree.
Like I said, during that Miami game, he kind of had a little
moment,
a little coming, out of his shell. He made some really good key plays. Still, had just a couple mistakes, but I mean, he's getting better every week, man.
Yeah, he is. I don't think he's the quote elite level quarterback like we talked about last week, but definitely moving in the right direction, and very pleased.
I would give anything to see him run that option, dude.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Tom Osborne's option offense with Tommy Armstrong. Dude, we might be talking about, a future legend right now. We still may very well be doing that.
Bring the option back with Tommy and the fullback running now. Oh, man. That's what we're all about. It's going to
be a hard combination to stop. I mean, you'd have to have a very physical defense to stop those two.
I have to ask you something, Trav.
Please.
Did you see BYU Michigan?
I did, and I'm not happy.
What happened?
I'm pissed. And I got every right to.
You do. You do. I mean, is Michigan... Go ahead.
BYU, like I said, they're not as good as what we tried to make them out to be after we lost.
Now hang on, Trev. Just to make sure, just in case anybody didn't catch this, Michigan totally dominated BYU. Yeah, it was 31-0. So,
yeah. And here's the thing: Jim Harbaugh, fantastic coach. We already knew this.
Yeah,
but I think we can all agree that BYU is not what we tried to make them out to be. After we beat them, or after they beat us, and then of course beating Boise State and.
Well, I think there was a. I'm sorry, Trev.
And losing 1 point to UCLA, they're not that good.
They're not. And there was, I think, a lot of people out there a lot of delusion out there that thought, maybe BYU was a really good team, maybe a top 10 team, and that loss to BYU was everything, it was going to be okay. And the loss to BYU is A, not okay, B, never was okay, and C, even if BYU was a top 10 team, it's still not okay. Mm-mm. In my opinion.
Well, here's the thing, Greg. Like I said, Jim Harbaugh, fantastic coach, but we should be further along than Michigan. Michigan has been struggling.
Absolutely.
Mightily the last, 3-4 years.
Mm-hmm.
And there's really no excuse for them to really kind of assert themselves, and we're still looking to find ourselves.
Right.
They struggled in their opening game against Utah, and Utah beat the crap out of Oregon. We're going to be talking a little bit about that later on, but there's just certain things that we have to expect, and we're struggling more than what I think we should be.
I completely agree with that.
And I'm telling you, man, Michigan, they're on their way. They're coming right back.
You think so?
The sleeping giant has been awoke. I'll say that.
Yeah, I agree, and I'd rather the Nebraska sleeping giant be awoke, but it seems like we're kind of still sleeping.
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting frustrated.
There is a little frustration in Husker Nation.
There is a little frustration, no doubt.
Greg, we have some things that we got to cover. We got a lot to cover.
Yes.
We have Terrell Farley coming later on in the show.
Yes, we do.
We got to discuss the Michael Booker interview because we kind of had some time constraints last week, which kind of prevented us from really digging into that.
Well, what happened is we recorded our podcast, and it sounded like, maybe we weren't going to be able to get Booker on that night, last Wednesday, and then after we recorded our podcast, then Booker was able to come on, so
right.
We had to do a little trick editing there, but we're definitely going to talk about that.
And we do apologize for that, but we wanted to make sure that we gave you that interview first.
In its entirety.
In its entirety, because, we promised you guys a special guest. We delivered.
Yes, absolutely. And we have another special guest for you this week. And actually, I don't want to spoil it, but I'm hearing there might be a quarterback coming up next week. So, yeah.
You got something brewing, do you, Greg?
Got something brewing. I mean, I know we are the Blackshirt Alert Show, but
it's a nice change of pace.
We do got some QB talk coming next week from recent Husker QB. So All I can say, yeah.
Well, Greg, let's just jump into it. What did you come away with the Michael Booker interview?
I thought it was absolutely epic, dude. I mean, first off, my interview skills suck, and I apologize for that. But what I will say is Booker is straight up awesome. I mean, that guy, his mentality and his love for the black shirts is so awesome that I crave that kind of aggression out of our black shirts today, and I don't think we're getting it. So
you really feel the fire and the passion that he has for this program.
You do.
It's not a joke to him.
No, it's not a joke to him at all.
And I think a lot of these former players they're not discouraged by the state of the program, but I think they want to see the players, play with more fire.
Yeah.
I think they really want, the players to just be confident in who they are and just go out there and, play balls out. You're going to make mistakes. You're going to have, bad plays, but you got to go out there and you got to play with fire and intensity.
And that's certainly how Michael Booker played. And, I didn't know, going in that interview, I didn't know, what kind of his mentality would be, but I mean, that dude's still ready to go, man.
Dude, I got pumped.
Yeah.
I love listening to him, man. I love listening to him.
Yeah. I mean, he makes you want to go suit up. I mean,
he makes you want to slap your mama.
I have no comment on that. I am not going to respond to that. But what I will say is we need to get guys like that back in the locker room talking to these kids.
And, I think he kind of wants to.
He does.
Like when he brought up, bringing back guys like, Terrell Farley, the Peter brothers,
Winstrom,
just Sue, all the past greats, rather it be, 20 years ago or even as little as 5 years ago. It doesn't matter. We just want to bring them back and have them actually honor the players that earn the shirts.
Yeah.
And, educate them and evaluate them on what it truly means to wear that jersey. Like it's almost like a badge of honor.
Right.
It's like you're earning your stripes from, going to war.
Now, let me ask you this, Trev.
Mm-hmm.
In that interview, there was, I don't want to say a controversial topic discussed, but, Booker said something that was eye-opening.
Mm-hmm.
And, he talked about the current coaching staff and Scott Frost.
Right.
So you want to talk about that now? You just want to you want to get it out there?
Greg, if I remember correctly, during our first show, I said, a lot of people wanted Scott Frost to be the guy, and I said that's just not the route you want to go.
Right.
You don't want to take an offense coordinator and just give him a shot at a place like Nebraska and be on about your merry way. And I know Oregon got demolished by Utah.
Yeah.
But I kind of start to agree with Booker. Mm-hmm. Now that doesn't mean I don't support Riley. Riley's still my dog. He's still the head man. He's still the guy in charge, and I'm going to support him. But it kind of makes you wonder if maybe Frost wouldn't have been the better approach just because he knows the program. He knows the tradition. He's an outstanding recruiter.
Mm-hmm.
And he could bring back those players, maybe not as coaches, but just as almost like a mentor, like have an open door policy, to let Booker come back and, personally hand a guy like Daniel Davey, a black shirt. And, Daniel Davey, he's had a rough few weeks, didn't even, I think, play at all during Southern Miss.
Mm-hmm.
But you have a guy like that come back, maybe shed some words of encouragement, and it gives him that little extra incentive to just go out and play, maybe above and beyond what he's truly capable of.
Right.
You know, these guys, when they get these black shirts, they're not just playing because they got a black shirt. They didn't just earn that because they're starters. You know, they're representing guys from the past, you know, from the 60s, from the 70s, from the 80s, from the 90s, from the early millennium. You know, this tradition is just not something new. You know, we're recruiting kids from all over the country. And some, they're not really familiar with who Nebraska is because we have fallen off the map. But a lot of them they get recruited, they're brought in, and then they're just like, oh, I get a starting position, I get a black shirt. It's a lot more than that. And I think it is important, and I think Booker really hit on something that, you know, the current staff should kind of hit on, and that's just, you know, bringing back these players and, you know, bring back a Sue, a Philip Dillard, Scott Shanley, you know, Michael Booker, you know, just whoever. And really evaluate these players and see if they've, like, it's one thing to just get a starting position and, you know, you get rewarded, but to be evaluated and know that you understand what that shirt represents, that's a true black shirt.
Well, you know, we talked about this a little earlier in the week, and, you know, we don't want to speculate, or we don't want to cause any waves, but, I mean, is it possible that, I mean, that Booker comment where he talked about, you know, wanting to come back and hand out the black shirts, you know, him and a lot of the other defensive guys, you know, that's something I never really thought about, but it's a great idea.
It kind of makes you wonder if maybe Frost has, you know, kind of said, you know, hey, if I, you know, ever coach at Nebraska, you know, like, would you guys come back and maybe, you know, hand out, you know, shirts to players that earn them? Because, you know, Booker said, you know, like, I don't know why we didn't find a way to get Frost, you know, $3 million to come back and, you know, be the head coach. That way, you know, players like myself, you know, and, you know, he gave a list of players could come back and, you know, hand out those black shirts. And so it kind of does make you wonder if maybe Frost has reached out to these, you know, former players and said, hey, you know, if I'm ever coach, would you come back and, you know, help us hand out these black shirts to players that earn them?
That's, you know, it's a thought, you know, and, you know, how old is Mike Riley? You know, we know he's not going to be the coach forever. You know, I don't know how many years he has left. I don't even want to speculate, but I think it's probably less than 10.
Oh, know. Absolutely. Yeah.
Maybe 5, 6, you know, I don't know. You know, that is if things if things go well, you know.
Right.
So,
and I hope that they do.
Yeah, I'm sure they will. Yeah.
Greg, I do want to say something about the defense. You know, like, it has struggled the last, you know, four games.
Right.
It's given up big plays, and, you know, mainly through the air. I want to talk about something from 2003 when Bo Pelini was our defensive coordinator. Now, a lot of people are probably tired of hearing about Bo Pelini, and, you know, in my own way, I kind of am too. You know, like, I still respect the man. I think he did a lot of good for Nebraska, but, you know, I get it. It's a new era. It's time to let the past go. But in 2003, and I can't remember who we faced, but the offense just really struggled, and, you know, the defense did everything they could, but, you know, we failed. We lost the game. And a reporter asked Bo, you know, is it tough on your defense when the offense isn't really moving the ball and putting up some points? And Bo said something that I will never forget. He said, did the offense score? And the reporter said, yeah. Bo said, then they did their job. Our job is to stop them. If the offense puts up 3 points, that's all I ever ask. If the offense puts up 3 points, they did what we ask of them. It's our job to go out and stop the other team. Now, it's an unrealistic goal, but that's the mindset you have to be in when you play defense.
Yeah,
you have to be angry, you have to be ruthless, you have to be almost, for lack of a better word, you have to be a criminal out on that field, but you have to respect the rules of the game, obviously.
Right. You gotta be pissed off.
You gotta play pissed. You gotta play angry, but you also gotta have swag and you gotta have fun.
Yeah.
But that comment really stuck out to me. I wish that our current, staff and players would take up that thing. Like, the offense is doing pretty good so far, but they need to have that mindset that, once we score one time, offense is done. Like, they did their job. Now it's up for them to go to work and, stop the other team.
Mm-hmm.
That's just kind of the way I've looked at it the last, 10 years.
Well, I'll tell you what. So, the first quarter we wanted to kind of talk about, the Booker interview and some of the other topics, and we kind of done that. We wanted to talk about the Southern Mississippi game, and we've done that. So, you got anything more you want to add, Trav, or you want to move into the halftime show, or where are we at?
Let's just move into the halftime show.
All right, let's talk about that for a second before we go in.
So, as I said, we have an interview with Terrell Farley, and we're going to be playing that. And
awesome.
It's great to hear these guys and how they approach, what they did.
Yeah.
You really hear it was a complete. Now, granted, they were winning. They were the best team ever. But when you hear guys like Michael Booker talk, you hear guys like Terrell Farley, it was a completely different mindset. Forget the winning. The mindset that they had was second to none.
Absolutely.
It was not a joke. It was not a game.
And it was their life.
It was. And we can get back to that. And I'm not saying that we have to go out and we have to win every game, but I got to see fire. I got to see passion. I got to see swag. I need to see guys on that sideline getting crunked.
Just like Booker said.
They got to have that mean, nasty attitude. And here, Greg, you bring that attitude back, people will fear you.
Absolutely.
Now, like I said, you may not win, but they're going to fear you. They're going to dread the day that they have to play you.
And we used to be extremely feared, and I don't know if we are now.
I think to an extent we are just because of our name, but our name is not enough anymore.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like Miami. Like when we were playing Miami, yeah, it's a big game because it's Miami, but I don't fear that team. It's just another team to me. Now, if we were going back and facing, the 2001 Hurricanes, yeah, I'd be like, crap. We got to face the, 2001 Miami Hurricanes. But that's not them. That's a shell. That's a shell of their former selves.
Right.
So really people just fear the name, but they don't fear the team. It gives us fans something to talk about because we can say, hey, we beat Miami. Like last year, we kind of carried that around like a little patch of honor. They weren't a good team, but we carried it around. We beat Miami.
Right.
When people beat us, they say, hey, we beat Nebraska.
That's big time.
Mm-hmm.
Well, let me tell you somebody that people did fear, and that's Terrell Farley.
Absolutely. He was a terror.
Terror. Yes. You ready to slide into that interview, Trav?
Let's slide into it, man.
All right. Here we go. Terrell Farley. Ladies and gentlemen, we are here with Husker Blackshirt legend Terrell Farley. Terrell, how closely do you follow the program today?
I still follow it close, just not really excited about, the year we have so far, but hopefully they can turn things around. This is still one of the greatest places to be, and, I'm always be a Husker, so I'm always going to watch them.
Yeah, absolutely, Terrell. Let's, our show, we like to, we're called the Blackshirt Alert Show. We like to talk about defense. So can you just take us back to when you first got to Nebraska and what it was like that first time you got your black shirt?
It was probably after probably like the Missouri game, and Coach McBride done called me in the office and told me I was getting a black shirt and that I was going to start. And I was excited, and then my family was coming to watch us play that week. So it was a very exciting week, and just being a black shirt, man, we take pride in that. Just being a black shirt, and hopefully that can roll over to their defense this year too.
Yeah, absolutely. Trav?
Terrell, if I may, we had on your former teammate last week, and he brought up a very interesting point that both me and Greg agree with. He said that he feels like, guys like yourself, Grant Wistrom, the Peter brothers, Mike Minter, should be the ones to personally come back to the program and hand out black shirts to current players. Is that something that you would be open to and kind of educate them and evaluate them on what it truly means to be a black shirt, back in your day and what it should mean today?
I think that would be an excellent idea, for a former player, myself as Grant and, the rest of them. They should take pride in Sue and stuff like that to come back and give out black shirts to those who deserve it.
Oh, absolutely. Like when he said that, me and Greg both we love the idea.
Yeah, I think it's a great idea. I think today they just giving out black shirts, and I really wish they could take the turn and really just understand what a black shirt means. It's just not being on the defensive unit, it's being one of the greatest defenses probably in college football. They got some name to it.
Mm-hmm. What would you say to a player if you had a chance to just hand them a black shirt?
I would tell them just take this with pride, every game, practice, this is an honor to wear this, just take pride in what it means, just understand really what a black shirt is,
Yeah, absolutely.
Do you ever look back at that 96 Fiesta Bowl when you kind of got screwed on that sack that they didn't award you that safety? Like, does that still kind of irk you to this day? Because it irks me.
It bothers us.
Well, I really think the play that got me was the interception that I dropped. I was like the second or third play of the game. I tipped the ball in the air and came down running. I came down running before I had the ball in my hand, and I dropped that. And I'm pretty sure I would have scored if I would have got that one.
Absolutely. Hey, let me ask you this question, Terrell. Oh, go ahead. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
But the safety do hurt, so I knew that I hit him in back behind the line, so I was serious. I was kind of frustrated and mad, but I'm glad the next play, Jamel got it, and so I think that was good for us just to get a back-to-back sack like that.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Hey, Terrell, what are some of your proudest moments as a player at Nebraska? Maybe
just winning the national championship, that year we just totally destroyed everybody. We came out to play like that black shirt group right there. That was probably the most excited 11 people I ever played with in my life. The other 10 people I played with was all great. And we shined together as a one. We had no eye on us. We played all together. Somebody always did something different, did something exciting. So it was a great unit to play with.
Terrell, do you still keep in touch with some of your former black shirt teammates?
Yeah, Mike Booker, like I say, Tyrone Williams, Jay Foreman, Eric Warfield. I still talk to them. It's just fun to still talk to these guys 20 years later, and we still close friends.
Absolutely, that's awesome, Trav.
Just curious, Terrell, you guys have that 20-year anniversary honoring the 95 championship team. Will you be attending that?
Yes, I'll be attending that.
Awesome.
That's awesome. We're gonna try to. We talked to Booker last week, and we're trying to, maybe get a chance to talk to some of you guys when you're all there in person. So we're hoping we can get a chance to maybe get a quick.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that.
Yeah.
I was gonna get a couple of jerseys made with 95 the year on it, and just get everybody to sign it and stuff.
Oh, that'd be awesome, man.
No doubt.
That'd be awesome. You ever you gonna maybe try to get back to the locker room and give the boys a little speech?
I mean, it's kind of harder, you know, like trying to get into that, just trying to get into the athletic part of the school. You know, they got it so isolated now, but you know, I mean, we can go back there, but you know, sometimes you just don't want to go through all the hassle and stuff. So you really just, you know, go to the games. And I think I got a sideline pass for the Michigan State game.
Oh, that'll be a good game.
Nice. Yeah.
I actually, you know, Terrell, call me crazy, but I think we'll actually perform really good in that game.
Well, I hope so. You know what I'm saying? That defense looked like they got a long way to go. And, you know, I just hope they turn it around, man. Sometimes it's disappointing to see your school lose, and I know we can't win them all, but, you know, it's just wishing part.
Yeah.
Hey, what is it about our pass defense that we need to improve on? Like, it's been really struggling this year so far.
I would just say it starts with the pass rush, you know what I'm saying? They need to get a better pass rush, you know, tighten up on the corners. You know, the safeties are playing great. It's just, you know, it's just simple things they can do. They can turn it up another level.
Yeah, I think Nate Gary, the safety, is just having an outstanding year.
Yeah, he is.
And, you know, you got that newcomer, Freedom Akinmolendu. He's playing lights out.
I think he's
sacks.
Yeah. I've been trying to check him out, but I've been working on Saturdays a couple of, so I've seen like 2 games though so far.
Right on. What games have you seen, if you don't mind me asking?
I've seen half of the BYU. I've seen the Miami game. I think them the 2 I watched. Then what was the other one? The Southern, the little school they played 2 weeks ago.
South Alabama?
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that.
I was so proud at how that team bounced back against Miami. Like, I know we didn't get the W, but the way that they just fought in there, I was so freaking proud.
Yeah, shouldn't have got down like that in the first place. When you dig a hole like that, it's kind of hard, but they did. But that, you know, when you get tired, I guess you do. He was tired, and I guess he threw an interception or something. Yeah, they just. I don't never would like to be in a predicament like that.
But I'll tell you what, Terrell, we got just a couple more questions for you. We have a fan question that actually came in and we wanted to ask you. Trav, you want to go ahead and ask Terrell?
He basically asked if...
This is from John, by the way, on Facebook.
If Terrell Farley was a Blackshirt on today's Husker football team, what would he do to motivate the defense as a whole? And what do you think about the defensive coordinator, Mike Banker's defensive scheme versus Charlie McBride's schemes?
Coach McBride? Well, first of all, I would try to get the guys. I would try to put some fire in them. I think they kind of lack enthusiasm. You know, go out there with some spunk, and you know, just like you know, if you had some true leaders like the Peter brothers we had that made sure we had fire in our system before we went on the field, and just you know, just get them in the game together. You know, get all 11 on the same, all 10 of us on the same page, and. You know, and I think with the defensive scheme that, you know, Coach McBride put us in the position where we did a lot of stuff, you know what I'm saying? And we put pressure on the quarterbacks and we made them into a 3rd and 15, a 3rd and 10 and make them, you know, 3 and out. That's all the thing he preached to us. I think that, you know, he should blitz a lot more and just get them, you know, just do some different stuff, stunts and stuff and get them really into the game. I think they just playing just basic football right now and not really throwing in all the, you know, just going in all gear.
Mm-hmm. It kind of seems like they've kind of lost that swag.
Yeah, they're not playing with that fearless tempo or that, you know, that go all out football. It just look like they're just basic to me.
Like, you know, I only look at things from a fan's perspective, but you know, I miss days like, you know, seeing you out there just, you know, pumping your teammates up, you know, starting fire. You make a big play, you know, you get the group together, you celebrate, you know, like people feared you guys and the players.
Yeah, but they didn't know who was coming. That's why they feared us. You know, sometimes we didn't have to bring nobody. Just the 4 off defensive linemen we had, they got at it themselves though. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm. Well, I'll tell you what, Terrell. I got a question for you. I asked Michael Booker this last week, and I'm just going to go ahead and ask you. I hope you don't mind. And if you don't have no comment on it, that's completely fine. But we asked Booker what it was like having Lawrence Phillips as a teammate. Did you have any type of relationship with Lawrence? Do you still have had any communication with Lawrence at all?
I've seen him in Atlanta a couple of years. I mean, probably 10 years ago. I mean, Lawrence is a great person, you know. Everybody had, you know, little problems in their life, and, you know, it just, you know, I just, you know, bless him and hope his situation gets a lot better. I mean, he's a great teammate. I think he was the most gifted person that I ever played with, you know, just seeing him how he runs the ball and to be that big and strong, and you know, he was a hell of a fine running back. He was one of the greatest people that I've seen just run the ball.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
In my opinion, Terrell, he is the greatest college football running back of all time.
That's what we think.
He could have been, you know, that his junior year, just to see him run for all them yards in 3 games. And I mean, yeah, the first 3 games he had like 600 yards. So and that was unbelievable.
Absolutely, it was. Trav, we don't want to keep you too long, Terrell. Trav, you got any other questions for Terrell for the night?
I think he's pretty much covered everything. And Terrell, like, we just appreciate you coming on the Blackshirt Alert Show, man.
All right. Thank you a lot, man. Thanks a lot.
All right. Thanks a lot, Terrell.
All right. Y'all have a good one.
You too, Terrell.
You too, man. So, Greg, another interview with another former Husker great. What were your thoughts?
Awesome interview. Farley seems like a great guy. I'm glad to hear that, you know, he's still talking to some of his former teammates.
Mm-hmm.
And, yeah, it just seems like he's real passionate about the black shirts. He still is, and I just thought it was great. What do you think?
Loved it, man. Like, any chance I get to talk to a former player, I feel like a kid in a candy store.
Right.
You know, like, I look up to these guys. I have since I was little, you know, like, you know, he talks about, you know, still being great friends with these guys for the last 20 years, you know, and that's really, if you think about it, like, that's like me and you, man. We've been, you know, good friends for 20 plus years, and,
yep.
You know, so we have that same bond, just, we're not quite high profile in this state.
Close.
We're getting there. But no, it's just great to hear these guys, and you know, the friendships that they make, you know, like what it means to them, and you know, it's like you said that, you know, even though Nebraska's, you know, kind of struggling this year, you know, it's still one of the best places to be. You know, it's a great place, you know, great football. It's a great place. There is no place like Nebraska, really.
There is not, as the saying goes.
You know, one thing I really loved about this interview is when he says, you know, like, being a black shirt, you know, means everything.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he's like, talks about how proud he was, you know, the pride, and it's just great to hear these guys and what it means to them just to get that black shirt.
Totally.
And Greg, that's what we are. Like, that's what this show is. And this show honors, you know, Nebraska football. You know, it's named after the black shirts.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we look up to these guys. And, you know, one thing that really kind of, I guess you could say kind of got underneath my skin is when he said that, you know, like, it's hard for former players to, you know, be part of the program as much as they'd like to be because it's so isolated.
Yeah, I mean, guys like this should have an open door, you know, door to the team. I mean, within reason.
Like, I mean, you heard him say, you know, like, he's got to go to the athletic department to get passes, and I'm just thinking to myself, like, why? I mean, the guy, you know, these guys, you know, doesn't matter what side of the ball you played on. You played for Nebraska.
Well, if you heard there, he said, you know, I think I have a sideline pass to the Michigan State game. It's like, well, why don't you have a sideline pass to every game?
I know, like, former players should be able to call and say, hey, I'm going to be in town, or I'd like to see a game. And they should have a beautiful envelope with their name on it waiting for him whenever they call.
Right. I mean, these guys brought us those national championships in the 90s.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know, it's disheartening to hear that.
Greg, I may take the show to where it doesn't need to go, but I'll say this. I love Nebraska football. I love the athletic department.
Right.
That program, that athletic department made millions off guys like Terrell Farley. Millions. They shouldn't have to call and request a pass.
No. They should be sent out at the beginning of the year.
Mm-hmm. They should have free anything when they want to come back for a game. Anytime they want to show up, they should have those passes waiting. Absolutely. They shouldn't have to go through a host of things just to get cleared. That's my thoughts. It kind of rubs me the wrong way when, it's almost like they've, I don't even want to say it, but it's almost kind of like they've been taken advantage of.
Well, yeah, I mean, it does seem like, I don't want to say there's been disrespect there, but maybe they've been kind of forgotten about.
Mm-hmm.
So, and that's part of what we're trying to do here. I mean, we're trying to make sure that people don't forget about the Blackshirt defense in the 90s. Some of these guys, like Farley and maybe some of the other guys, we don't hear about them all the time, because it's been 20 years, but we think it's.
But we'd love to. That's the thing.
Yeah.
We love hearing about these guys.
Absolutely.
And it's not just because they won championships. Bring back Scott Shanley. I'll listen to Shanley. Right. That guy played with fire.
Totally.
Bring back Bo Rude.
Totally.
Bring back Barrett Rude. Bring back, Adam Carricker.
Yeah.
It's just Sean Eichhorst, if you're listening, we need to start treating these players, especially the former ones, with more respect. I mean, that's really what it is.
Yeah.
They shouldn't have to go through hoops to just be a part of the program. They are the program. It's kind of like military service, I don't want to compare it to war, but it is, they played for us. The state, the program, everything made money off these guys. They should at least get something. And what they're asking for is really nothing. It's just they want to be a part of the team. They want to be part of the program. Let them come back. Let them talk to the players. Let them have access.
Could not agree more. Absolutely could not agree more.
I really liked hearing how, he's just talking, when talking about his teammates, he says, set aside the championships. It was just, the most exciting group of players that he's ever played with. That's, to hear that stuff, it just really resonates with me, it just really gets me going. I love hearing that stuff. I love hearing, teammate connections because, these guys, they played their heart out for us.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
So I also want to just say, Terrell Farley, congratulations on your sobriety. That's awesome, man. That is awesome.
Totally, dude.
And, we're proud of you. Everyone should be proud of him.
Yeah, it's a big deal, man.
So, I mean, you're a guy that we look up to and we're going to continue to look up to. And, it's just, we're thankful that we had you on the show and that meant a lot. And
we can't wait to talk to him soon.
Oh, absolutely.
And we're going to get Booker back on too. And I was happy to hear that he's going to go to the 20th year reunion.
Right.
And Booker's going to go to that, and you and I are going to be going to that. So hope to get some, good footage and some good audio for everybody. So
yeah, it'll be nice to just, kind of hang out with them, and even if we're just a fly on the wall and just get to hear some stories. That's, it's I get giddy just thinking about it.
Yeah, I mean, we're going to try to get some good stories for everybody. I know there's a lot of stories out there that nobody's ever heard, so we're going to try to get them out of some of these players.
Greg, you brought up something that, we say is somewhat of, a controversial topic, like we're not sure how people will react to it, but we think that, it's good to just hear people's take on this individual. And I'm talking about Lawrence Phillips.
Sure.
I really like how his former teammates talk about him. Like, you do get the sense that Lawrence truly is a great person. He just, he's made some very costly mistake in his life.
That's the impression that I get from these players. If it wasn't, it seems like he's a guy that, has a good heart.
But he got dealt a bad hand.
Got dealt a bad hand, it seems like. And, I know what it's like to be dealt a bad hand, but, I haven't went out and ran over anybody, so, or, he has problems, obviously. And kind of like Booker said, he is where he needs to be.
Right.
But, at the same time, it does seem like he might have a good heart. And I don't know. I guess I just feel, I feel bad for Lawrence in a way.
I feel bad that he didn't have the privilege that I think he should have had.
I think I feel bad because there was just so much potential there, and now
absolutely
nobody will ever know what could have been. I guess that's what bugs me.
And I don't know, Phillips, and I've never got to talk to the guy, but it kind of seems to me like, maybe once the spotlight kind of turned off him, he didn't really know how to react.
Mm-hmm.
And, it is hard on these former players when they think that they're forgotten about. He goes to the NFL, has some problems there. And then, he gets cut and, you hear certain things, but I think he's just a guy that struggled being out of that light and maybe back into the shadows. And, these former players, like if any former player, you're more than welcome to come on the show.
Absolutely. If you got something you want to say or.
Absolutely. Like, it doesn't matter if you're from the, 70s, 80s, 90s, millennium, doesn't matter. We would love to have you on. Like, you guys, you're our idols. And like, when that light's gone, don't think that you're forgotten, because you're not.
And let me ask you this question, Trev.
All right.
This is a little off script. This is a little off topic. I was going to ask you this off the show, but I'm just going to ask you now on air for everybody. If you're okay with that.
Ask me.
In that Booker interview, we asked Booker about LP, and he said the last time he talked to him was in Atlanta when he played for the Falcons.
Mm-hmm.
Now, we just talked to Farley, and he said the last time he talked to LP was in Atlanta. What's the Atlanta connection down there? Why do you think this all happened in Atlanta?
Well, I'm pretty sure that Michael Booker played for the Atlanta Falcons.
He did, yep.
And I'm sure that, it's the same scenario with Farley. So maybe there was a game where they were, going to play against Phillips, and, Phillips just reached out to some former teammates. I think that's really what it is.
Yeah, I'm just kind of curious about that.
But, honestly, it's just, like Booker, I'm a guy that, thinks that, you should do the time if you're going to do the crime. But I there's still a chance that, Phillips can get back on track.
Right.
Like, I know, like, he's in trouble and everything, but I got faith in the guy, man. He's a former Husker. Like, I want to believe that he can do good, and I know he can.
Totally.
So I hope he can, get everything back together, and I'm praying for him.
Absolutely. Trav, you want to change gears for a minute?
Let's change gears, and
I got a YouTube comment here from Equalizer 007.
All right.
Last week you said you think we're going to beat Michigan State, Trav. You remember that?
I do.
He says, I hope you're right about Michigan State. Problem is our defense, especially the defensive backs. Trav, what's your response?
Well, that is a huge issue. And if I also remember correctly last week, I said, our defense isn't necessarily good, but it's not bad. I still kind of believe that. I know we're struggling with our pass defense. I get it. It's kind of like we sacrificed a good rush defense for a horrible pass defense. Like last year, it was kind of the polar opposite. We had a pretty good pass defense, but our rush defense was horrible.
Mm-hmm.
I'm okay with a poor pass defense. I'm never going to be okay with a horrible rush defense. You can win a game if you have the odds of you winning a game with a good rush defense are higher than if you have a good pass defense. You always want to make a team one-dimensional. So how do we improve our pass defense? At this point, I'm not really sure that we can.
Ouch.
It's like Terrell Farley said in the interview, the defense just looks so vanilla.
Yeah.
He's talking about Charlie McBride schemes. He says, we asked him, how do we improve our pass defense? He says, you got to get pressure on the quarterback, and we're not doing that. He's like, McBride would have, brought blitzes, he'd did some stunts, blitzes, you name it. He didn't done anything at all possible to get pressure on that quarterback. We're keeping it very vanilla. And it does look like a vanilla group. It just looks like we're just playing basic defense. So how do we improve the pass defense? I'm not sure we are going to this year, guys.
Trav, I'll tell you what, that brings us into let's talk about this Illinois game coming up. Okay, so Illinois, Trav.
Yep.
Big game. Should be able to get the win. And
I'm going to be honest with you. This is going to be a tough game, man.
You think so?
I do. I think it's going to be a closer game than what we'd like.
Trav.
And the reason why is really because they're a pretty balanced offense. They got a good, they got a good pass offense. They got a good rush defense or rushing offense. So it's going to be a close game, I think.
If we lose this game, are we close to push the panic button? It's going to be a mess.
If we lose this game, I'm pushing the panic button. I really am.
Last week, go ahead.
We've had a tougher out-of-conference schedule than what we've had in the past. BYU, while I say that they're not as good as we make them out to be, they're still a quality football team. Miami, they're a solid football team. So we've played tougher competition this year out of conference than what we have in the past. So when you're going into a game like Illinois 2-2, they're licking their chops. This could be their last chance to get us for a while.
Right.
And like I said, they got a pretty good offense.
And
so
I think, I imagine their coach is probably telling them, or at least thinking, they're kind of banged up a little bit right now, 2-2. Maybe our heart's not completely in it. So I think they want to kind of strike hard.
I actually think that they will try to. Here's the thing. Illinois, if they want to beat us, they have to strike fast, and I think they're going to try that.
Trav.
Yeah.
I have to say, last week we talked about DeMornay.
Mm-hmm.
You want to give us a little update on the status of DeMornay?
He's suited up. He's suiting up for practice. They're kind of easing him into the role a little bit. They haven't fully just let him loose, but he's getting close, guys. He's getting real close. I don't think he's going to play this week, but I look for him to play the week after against Wisconsin. He
is listed as possible?
Mm-hmm. He's listed as possible. He's listed as questionable.
Questionable, okay.
They're basically just trying to get him ready in game shape so that they can let him do his thing. And guys, this is going to be massive. It's going to be massive. He is, aside from Tommy Armstrong, he's our biggest playmaker on offense, and it's not even close.
You don't think they're going to give him a kickoff or anything to return?
He hasn't even been a punt returner in practice yet.
Oh.
So they're really just bringing him along slowly. I think, honestly, I think they're happy with what Westerkamp's doing. I don't think they're going to have DeMornair as a punt returner for a while.
Right.
I think they want to keep him from getting too many shots as possible. So they just want to keep him healthy, and I agree.
I was just thinking maybe they'd want to let him see a live game scenario before the Wisconsin game, but
yeah,
I don't.
It would be nice, but at the same time, I think he's going to be okay. He's not really a new fish to the pond, so he kind of has a sense of what that speed's going to be like.
Sure.
So I think he'll be okay. We just got to ease him in. We don't want him to be, I want him to be ready to come back. I don't want them to rush this because we need him for these final stretch of games. So he's got to be fully healthy.
Last week, you gave me a prediction for the game, and you kept telling me all week, I messed up. Give me your rock-solid prediction for this week.
This week? Oh, boy. I'm going to say...
Oh, boy.
30-28 Nebraska.
Ooh. I don't think...
I think it's going to be a very close game, guys. I really do. Just because I don't think we're playing that confident right now. It's going to take a little bit for us to kind of build that confidence, and we will. But until then, I'm telling you, do not sleep on this Illinois team. They're a solid football team.
How about 38-32?
Is that what you're taking?
That's what I'm taking.
You don't want a heart attack win?
I don't, no.
Heart can't take anymore, can it?
No, it cannot. It cannot. I need...
I think we're going to win, and honestly, I kind of think it's going to be somewhat like the Southern Miss game where we have a decent lead and we let them back in. I know people don't want to hear that, but with our pass defense the way it is, it's, teams can make those comebacks.
Right.
Okay. And like I said, we have a good rush defense. At least so far, it's been pretty good. It's just got to get. They got to tighten up on those corners and really, here's the thing: the corners are not really attacking the ball the way that they should. If you want to play the way that Banger's doing, you got to jam the receivers. We're not doing that. So I'm a little, like I said, I don't know how we're going to improve our pass defense when we're being so vanilla. I read somewhere someone said, we're just being vanilla on defense, so that we can save some things for conference play. You don't do that. Guys, you don't do that. You don't sacrifice 2 wins for conference play.
Right.
You just don't do that.
No.
So if that's what they did do, shame on them. I know it's not what they did. I think really they're playing the players to the best of their ability. I don't think from a depth standpoint and athletic ability standpoint, we can really do things the way that the staff wants to do it. So I think, like I said, I think Illinois is going to be a tougher opponent than we'd like to think. It's going to be a close game, guys.
We'll see on Saturday, big guy.
So, Greg, with that, I think we've covered everything we needed to cover.
I think we've had a great show, man. We've covered every topic, plus talked to Terrell. I mean, how can you beat that? And I will say real quick, Trav, stay tuned next week because we may have a good guest.
Well, I don't even know who it is, so I'm looking forward to it.
Listen, I'm working the phones, man. I'm working the phones.
I appreciate that. And, I just want to give a quick shout out to Freedom Akamolandu. Congratulations on getting that black shirt, man. It's a huge honor, and, wear it with pride. That's all we say. So, guys, this is the Blackshirt Alert Show. I am TK signing off. Greg, go Big Red, man.
Go Big Red.